Dramatic entrance, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Hiddleston.
This is really nice.
It's good, right? It works, right?
Yeah. This is lovely.
Thanks for coming over.
Is this your new permanent setup?
Yeah, this is it. They booted me out of MTV, so I'm working in an abandoned theater now.
It's pretty, it's got an acoustic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No one comes to visit me. You're my first visitor. Thank you.
Very much. My pleasure.
Have a seat, bud.
Thank you.
We're obviously in this beautiful theater.
Yeah, it's lovely here.
Very close to where you're going to be performing Betrayal on Broadway.
A block away, I think.
Your debut coming very soon. And it strikes me, I thought back, we've known each other for about 9 years, almost exactly 9 years.
Wow.
And our first meeting was at a much different kind of place.
Yes.
Comic-Con.
San Diego Comic-Con.
So I think that kind of speaks to the two ways your career have gone, the way you've balanced both. You have the Comic-Con life, and you have this kind of life.
Yeah, exactly right. It's amazing to hear it put like that. Yeah, it's funny. It's life as an actor. Life as an actor in the 21st century. But for me, they're indivisible. They actually feed each other.
Yeah.
And the strange thing is that Kevin Feige first saw me act in a theater.
Right.
That was before anything else. He came to see Kenneth Branagh about the possibility of him directing Thor. I remember him being in the audience, and I briefly shook his hand. And it's like you say, one's the Comic-Con life and one's the theater life, but actually they start in the same place.
You spent most of your 20s really devoted to theater. I mean, that was your life.
Yeah.
Was that because that was the love, or you couldn't conceive of a TV or film career? How much of it was just out of practicality, I can't even imagine that kind of being a movie star?
Yeah, probably that. It seemed so remote. I'd like probably everybody, grown up loving movies and loving TV and loving theatre. It wasn't like it was my passion was sort of divided. It was just a wholehearted love of stories.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe the culture that I grew up in, like theatre's easier to do when you're a kid. All you need is an empty space and some words. And, at the time, I guess, as a child of the 80s and 90s, the cameras weren't so easily accessible.
Right.
So this idea of making movies was so, remote. There's other people do that. I think it was actually, I probably didn't allow myself to dream as big as that. I think in my head, I thought, wow, maybe one day. But it's a dream that's really at the back of the highest shelf in the cupboard in the attic room of the house of my mind,
One thing that always strikes me is the focus that's required for an actor, because it's a living, breathing thing. You have the audience right there. I don't know, can you see the audience, generally speaking?
I can. I don't know why. I can see everybody. I can see everyone in the house.
So does that ever rattle you? You must recognize friends, celebrities, and has that ever happened to you where you've seen oh, that's Oprah Winfrey, or whatever?
There was one performance of Ivanov, the Chekhov play, which we did in 2008, where I came on stage and I looked out into the house and I saw a sea of faces and Michael Caine. There he was,
a spotlight on him,
looking at me. Yeah, I was like, oh no, and I momentarily froze of Michael Caine is watching, This may be the only time that Michael Caine is going to watch you act.
Did we know for sure it was Michael Caine and not just an apparition?
It was Michael Caine.
Okay.
Yeah, it was him. Yeah. I think you liked it. So.
Is there something about the stage that lets you kind of push yourself in areas that otherwise would rattle you? I mean, for instance, again, I'm always amazed by the lengths that actors can go, especially in a live environment.
What I love about a play, and it is unique to the theatre, is this consequential momentum that you get across performing the whole thing.
Sure.
And when I first started making films, I initially found that difficult, that you make a discovery in a scene, cut, and then it becomes a sort of construction site for half an hour, trying to sustain a integrated psychological reality for the character, so that if you're doing, let's take the first Thor movie, for example, some of those sequences at the end of the film between me and Chris Hemsworth were 7 or 8 weeks apart.
Right.
But in the movie, they're next to each other. So you're like, right, 7 weeks ago, I was in this mood, and I was, this level of emotional volatility, and having to just refine that.
Any superstitions particular to the theater?
There's one. I'm thinking there's a warm-up game, which I think I've played almost every time, which is about, it's called Big Booty.
Sorry?
Big Booty.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Okay.
It's not related to anything,
Okay.
any body part
Okay.
specifically, but you play it as a group and are standing in a circle, and it's kind of like a rhythmic game where everyone playing has to keep a specifically musical rhythm, and if they break it, they go to the back.
Got it.
And if you're at the top, you're the Big Booty. It's crazy.
How often are you the big booty?
In Betrayal in London, I was the Big Booty because I taught everyone the game. So people were like, God, this is so hard. So I managed to stay at Big Booty for like 3 weeks. And then Charlie Cox and Zoe Ashton, we've got to get Tom off the top. We've got to knock him off. So it became intensely competitive. Yeah.
I know from experience what a master imitator you are. You can do seemingly any voice. Did that start young? Was that something? Were you imitating friends?
I think it was. I've always been fascinated by sounds and by language. Long before we had, iPhones where you could make voice memos, I had a double tape deck, and I did my own. At the age of 8 or 9, I pretended I was a radio DJ, and I would do all the voices. So I would be like, now we're going to cut to Tina with the transport report with the weather, and I'd be like, hello, I'm Tina, and there's some rain in this, and it was crazy. But I think I've always been fascinated by how people present themselves, I suppose.
You're going to make a life in New York for the next few months.
Yeah.
In terms of walking around with some anonymity, would it behoove you to adopt a different voice, whether it's an acting exercise or to maintain some anonymity?
I've never done that. I think when I was preparing to play Hank Williams, I did a bit of that in Nashville, just to see if I could pull it off.
Yeah.
But then people would go, hey, don't I know you? And you're like, yeah, you do probably. So it doesn't last for very long. But I'm looking forward to hearing the sounds of New York for sure.
Yeah. How many Benedict Cumberbatch autographs have you signed over the years?
Signed any, no.
You've never signed a Benedict photo?
I've never signed a Benedict photo, no.
Because it's bizarre to confuse you two because you couldn't be more different, but you are lumped together still to this day a little bit.
I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because of Warhorse or something. But I've signed a Michael Fassbender photo.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? He's a very handsome man.
So have the comparisons between you and Benedict ever rubbed you the wrong way? I mean,
No. He's a very dear friend. I saw him last weekend. He's amazing. He's an amazing actor.
I've seen both of you dance firsthand in front of me.
I apologize, unreservedly.
Who do you think is the better dancer, you or Benedict?
I couldn't possibly. That's not for me to say.
Oh, that's... No. You're saying you. That's
how you say it. That's
it.
not for me to say. That's for other people to make a choice about.
Let's go to the tape. Let's talk a little bit about this amazing play, Betrayal, which I was fortunate enough to see in London. It's the same crew, same director, same cast you're bringing.
Yeah. Jamie Lloyd, our director, Zoe Ashton, Charlie Cox, and Eddie Arnold. And
it's from some very important, significant source material. Pinter, of course, one of the most notable playwrights in existence. Talk to me about what you love about this play that is bringing you back for a second run.
I've loved Pinter for a long time. He talks about the idea of drama as an excavation of truth.
Right.
And that basically the whole point of drama is that you're trying to get to something truthful about the experience of being alive. There's no such thing as one truth. There are many truths. They challenge each other. They recoil from each other. They seduce each other. I love this play. It's about a triangle of relationships. A husband, a wife, and the husband's best friend. Robert and Emma are married, and Jerry was best man at Robert and Emma's wedding.
Right.
Jerry and Emma had been having an affair for 7 years. And it's told in reverse order. It's truly bittersweet. It's both sad and funny.
Yeah.
Because the audience are watching it going, oh, they can see the car crash coming, but there's something amusing about that. Because in a way, it's a game. So I think that's unique to Pinter too, that he can excavate an experience that's quite painful, but make it funny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you think of the word betrayal, we've all been betrayed in personal, professional ways.
Yeah.
Does something that you're comfortable talking about ever come to mind? Do you feel like you've ever been betrayed professionally, personally, that you can relate to this experience that's helpful for you in this?
I think what I relate to is the sadness of being betrayed.
Yeah.
Because the commitment to trust is huge. To trust someone, to be vulnerable, to trust someone enough to show them your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Many of the characters I played have been betrayed.
Right. Now, Betrayal could basically be the name of any Thor Loki story, basically.
Yeah. I mean, Loki does a lot of betraying.
Exactly. I was going to say, dude, let's start with Loki as the betrayer.
Okay, yeah. Both betrayer and betrayed. Although in his mind, he would justify it.
Right. You're still
but
a character.
Unfortunately, it's retaliation. And a cycle of retaliation, as we know, is a fool's errand.
But it's interesting you talk about, like, trusting, because when I think of, like, the hits you've taken over the years, it's not about work stuff. It's about, like, people misinterpreting you, I think, based on you being earnest and being honest. And I think people not understanding that.
Right.
Is that accurate to say? That where you
Probably. I mean, it's been that way for a long. It's been that way since I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's like, so it really has. Like I've always. I think I'm probably the same now as I was then.
Yeah.
That's what makes me feel most comfortable.
Right. You've retreated a lot from social media in recent years. Is that part of just sort of like, if people are going to misinterpret me in some ways, then I'm going to need to protect myself, and that's a way of protecting myself a little bit?
Maybe. I mean, I think we live in a world of distractions.
Yeah.
And I think it was just about trying to live more in reality.
Yeah.
And
focus on the things that are real and important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reality is your friend.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes with social media, people do tend to say things which they wouldn't say to someone's face.
Totally.
And I thought, well, maybe I'll just live in reality and have some face-to-face interaction, and hope, and that might kind of lead to sort of a more of a grounded connection with people.
Maybe one of the small good things about social media is it's created millions of amazing Tom Hiddleston GIFs over the years.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Have you ever sent a GIF of yourself?
There's a great one which I've sent quite a lot, of Loki kind of just putting his head in his hands, like it's a sort of exasperated.
Right.
Oh no, this isn't going to end well.
Yeah. That works on many occasions, I would think.
Yeah, it works. Delayed trains, cancelled flights.
Right.
Oh, it works.
I believe the last Broadway production of Betrayal starred Daniel Craig. So is this your elaborate way of moving up the list for Bond?
No.
It's funny because I've talked to many actors. I've talked to Idris and others who are on these lists that are or are not real. You know, Daniel Craig still has the mantle, and a lot of them have the reaction you have, and I totally get it. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't want to feed the beast. You don't want to, like. That's basically it. Yeah. Wow. That's literally the only thing I can ask you about that would really make you shut up, I think. You ever daydream about that role? You must. I daydream about playing James Bond, and I'm not a professional actor. Okay. Let's talk about other things. After the play, you're going to be shooting your TV series.
Yes,
which is crazy for a number of reasons. One of the crazy aspects is, like, ostensibly, you're going to do more of Loki in a few months than you've ever done in the 9 years prior.
I know.
Which is amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, 6 hours.
Has there been a point where you legitimately thought it was done? Because we've joked about it over the years. I remember you mock cried on the carpet for Thor: Dark World. People still give me crap. They think I made you cry because you thought you were going to end.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a mock. Come on, guys. Yeah.
I guess my question is, did you ever think the run was over?
Yeah. 100%. I thought Thor: The Dark World was it.
Yeah.
And then there was the sort of altered ending.
Right.
But then it didn't seem, the Marvel Universe went off in quite a different direction after that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if I was ever going to be back.
Yeah.
Infinity War was final.
The death scene in the beginning
The death scene at the beginning of Infinity War, that was pitched to me 2 years before we filmed it, when I first went to see Kevin to talk about Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
And he was kind of telling me the story and the arc and Hela and the whole thing. Sakaar and the Grandmaster, he was just sort of telling me the loose bones of the story. The Russos were in the building.
Yeah.
And he said, at the end of this meeting, I'd love for you to meet Joe and Anthony. And they don't know what's going to happen in Avengers 3 yet, but they have their opening scene. And they're going to tell you what it is.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So they told me, 3 years ago now,
what
happened, that opening scene. They were like, this is how we're going to start. And so I thought, well, I guess that's it then.
So wait, they don't follow that up by saying, but the next movie, don't worry, you're back?
I don't think they had that figured out at that point.
So what about by the time you shot it? When you shot it, did
Oh,
you
when
know?
we shot it, they knew, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
And you
so
knew?
I knew about the endgame piece.
Okay.
But I knew that in terms of Loki's journey, the arc was complete.
Got it.
At the beginning of Infinity War. And it was very emotional.
Yeah.
Like, Josh Brolin was really sweet. He was like, I'm sorry, man. But also, bless them, Joe and Anthony were really like, this is momentous.
Yeah.
This is how we're opening this film, and this is the end of Loki, and that's it. And when I shot it, I thought that was absolutely the last time I would play the character.
And how long ago did they present the idea for a series, and were you immediately on board?
I knew about 6 weeks before the worldwide release of Avengers Infinity War, which meant I had to go and do press for Avengers Infinity War going, yep, that's it, guys.
Well, you're used to lying. That's you're pretty good at by now.
Yeah, so I did know about it then, but I didn't know what the pitch, the story was.
Yeah.
And I can share this with you, that working with them on what it's going to be, what the content's going to be, what the meat and potatoes of the story is going to be, the tone, the context, the different challenges. I mean, it is so exciting.
Can we take it that we know a Rick and Morty writer's your showrunner, so is that indicative of the tone, that it's maybe a little more comedic than?
Oh, there'll be humor in it for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But there's also, it's the Loki
of 2012, basically.
Yeah.
So he's not redeemed.
Yeah.
Right? So a little bit more of the nefarious.
That's where he
mischief.
starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
But by the end of the 6 hours, he's
in a whole other
you would hope.
set of challenges. But it's really interesting. So I feel like I know him. I've been playing him for 10 years now, and that's crazy to me. And but by the time it's out, I'll be 40. And when I was cast, I was 29.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Which is a great chunk of my life.
Yeah.
For me. Somebody else can do the maths. I think it's just over a quarter. But the point is that there's this sense of, I know this character now, I feel that the audience knows him, and playing him truthfully, but presenting him with new challenges, which then have to change him in different ways, is the most exciting aspect of it.
Yeah.
So there's this, you've got his very specific gifts, his intelligence, his treachery, his mischief, his magic, and then seeing him come up against more formidable opponents, the like of which he has never seen or known. I wish I could tell you what happens, but I can't.
I can't wait. A couple rapid fire things for you.
Okay.
Do you remember the first, I don't know if it would have been rated R back in where you were from, but the first kind of like adult rated film you saw as a kid was?
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Nice. Is there a movie that you'd be ashamed to admit you've never seen?
Yeah, I've never seen Wings of Desire.
Okay. Oh, Vendors, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Best celebrity that you've ever karaoke'd with?
Eddie Redmayne.
Really?
Oh my God. Have you seen Les Miserables?
No, I'm not surprised. Of course he's a great singer, but...
Yeah. I saw him sing A Whole New World in Aladdin once, and it changed. Everyone had to stop after that. We were like, well, we can't go on.
Have you ever cried at the news that you've gotten a role?
No, I don't think I've cried.
Okay.
But I had to sit down on the pavement, the sidewalk, when I got cast as Loki. I just had to sit there for a little bit.
Have you ever cried at the news that you haven't gotten a role?
No.
Last TV show you binged?
Succession.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh,
New season's about to start.
can't wait.
Would you like to see Chris Evans star in a Avengers musical?
Yes.
I mean, you guys have a lot of musical talent in that cast.
Yeah.
Literally almost everybody.
There's a lot of tap, I feel. Like Robert Downey's, he's a tapper.
Is he? Well,
Doesn't he tap in
Chaplin, I
Chaplin?
remember. Yeah.
Chris, I know, can tap.
Yep.
Evans.
Renner has a new album out.
Oh, Renner, I'm sure. Yeah.
A lot of good moves in there. And the Batch.
Benedict.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange can dance.
It's always a privilege to chat with you, my friend. Congratulations on the play. Everybody should check it out. This is Tom's Broadway debut. It's been
Broadway.
a long time.
Can't believe it. That's a
time
dream.
coming. Yeah.
It's a big dream. You know, the idea. I came to New York City for the first time in 1998 with my dad and my sisters, and I was here for a week, and we did everything. We went to see the Statue of Liberty, and we went to the Museum of Modern Art, and we went to Central Park and wandered around Times Square, and my dad was like, this is Broadway. And I was like, wow, that would be a thing one day, and here I am. So it's pretty cool.